Hi guys, Mrs. Kirk here. Here's our example for class today. And what I have to work with are my markers. And I've got a couple of straight edges. I've got a notepad that has a straight edge. That could work for drawing the buildings. And then I also have this ruler. Okay, so I think I'm going to start off by using the ruler. Let's get started. Now, if you're just using one piece of paper, that's totally fine. Or you can draw on this, cut it out, and glue it onto a separate piece of paper. I'm going to show you how to do it on one piece of paper and add color to it. So I want to begin with the top of the tallest building. I'm going to put that over here on the left side. So I'm not going to use the ruler just yet, but I am going to start with, I want sort of a cone shape at the top of my building. And then I want my little lightning rod up there. And then I'm going to add some layers to it. So at this point, I can start using my ruler. And then on the other side, which can be kind of tricky if you're using a ruler like I am, it's not clear. I think I might switch out to a clear ruler because then I can see the other lines. I really like clear rulers actually for most drawings. Be sure to hold it down tight, like I didn't do. Whoops, it's okay. All right, and this is the very top, very small. And then I want it to get bigger, so I'm going to draw that line a little bit wider. And I'm going to put this part on a little bit of a diagonal, just a little. Try to make it the same as the other side. I'm sort of looking back and forth. Whee! And then I'll make the base of the building, which would be like the big, beautiful entrance. I'd love to know if some of you have ever been to a big city and seen big skyscrapers before, like maybe New York City. Oh, I'll be curious to find out. We'll see if anybody emails me or puts it in your description of your artwork when you turn it in on Friday. So here we go. I'm going to do the base of my building. I'm not going to come all the way down to the bottom of my paper, but I'm using the ruler to figure out that I need to match up these lines. There we go. Now let's add an entryway, like a door. Ooh, an interesting door. There are the handles on the door. Maybe it has a big window above it. Remember, this is a huge building, so I don't want to make my door look too big. I want it to look like it's just a little door. And then up here, of course, I'm going to add lots and lots of windows. Now, what I like to do is the higher up the windows are, the smaller they are. So I'm starting with a tiny one, and then I make them bigger and bigger as they come down. It kind of helps make your drawing look what we call elongated. And elongated means longer or taller than it actually is. So up here, I might have some itty bitty little teeny tiny windows. Lots of them. And it doesn't take long if you don't worry about them being perfect. They don't need to be perfect, guys. You're the artist. It should look like artwork, right? We don't want it to look like a photograph. We want it to look like an illustration that an artist drew. There we go. Maybe up here, the windows are so tiny you can hardly tell that they're windows, or it's just texture. Not sure. It's so far away you can't tell. So I'm going to go back and fill the rest of this in with windows, but I don't think you need to watch that whole thing. Instead, let's move over to the right side and let's draw a couple of really tall buildings. I'm going to start off with my super long ruler, and I'm going to draw a building that goes, oh, way up. There we go. I'm actually going to use my ruler to create this building like this. So go across the top, the edges, and if you want to make it look a little bit more realistic, like you're seeing the side of the building, put a little diagonal line there. It hangs downward just a bit. And then use your ruler again to draw a straight line Straight vertical line from there down like that. All of a sudden, it looks like a real building. Don't worry about the bottom yet, okay? We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's do another building beside it. So let's see. I'm just going to show part of the building. You won't be able to see the whole thing, which is great because then I can just draw a line like that. And I can draw a little line. Oh, I should have done less of a diagonal. It's a bit too much of a diagonal. But it is what it is. Now, if you draw any windows on this side or this side of these buildings, the top of the windows and the bottom should also be diagonals. This is the rule of one-point perspective. So in other words, you're doing a parallel line, parallel with the top one, parallel, and then perfectly vertical. And it feels really weird when you draw it like that because over here, these are just normal rectangles. Got to be careful not to get it on my table. I should have put my drawing board under there. I was using it for something else. I can't help it. All right. So another fun way to decorate the side of a building without doing too much is to put some diagonal lines on it. You can do it on this one too. Just sort of helps it feel like it's three-dimensional. Up at the top, let's do some fun, super creative things. Like I'm going to do a little rooftop garden, maybe with a tree growing up here, some birds. I don't know, maybe there's a balloon, a hot air balloon. That's what it is. Somebody's taking a hot air balloon ride. Whee! Oh, I don't know if this will be fun or scary. What do you think? Hot air balloon. Anybody ever been in a hot air balloon? Oh, that would be so much fun. All right, so then you can add lots of details, windows, doors, lots of geometric shapes. And don't forget to sign your work, your artist's signature. Down at the bottom, remember I was talking about I was going to save that for later? Well, it's later. So here's what we're going to do. We need to make sure that the front of the building goes straight across. I'm going to bring it down almost to the bottom of the paper, straight across. It finishes this perfect little rectangle. And this one needs to go up at a slight diagonal to make it look right. Same thing over here. Follow it from the top. If this line is a diagonal, then the bottom line should be a diagonal. Oops, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Sure did. And then I ran out of paper. This is what I got for drawing with the marker. Say, it's okay, Miss Kirk. I'm going to turn that into something else. Ignore it. It doesn't exist. I didn't follow my directions, and this is what happened. It turned into, what is it going to be? All right. I don't know. I'm going to color it. I'm going to cover it up. Maybe I'll just cut the paper right there and it won't show. And that's okay, right, guys? Because at the end of the day, I was making artwork. I was having fun. I was being creative, and that's what it's all about. All right. Time to add some color or cut it out and glue it onto a colorful background. Great job.